What advice would you give to Elon Musk right now?
You know, people's strengths are often their weaknesses, right? And you got a guy like Elon, he's super creative, he's super persuasive, he obviously can influence people and get them on board with what he's doing. I worry that he's so persuasive that there's no one that can say no to him. There's no one, he's in an echo chamber where people agree with everything that he's saying, and no one's giving him any resistance. And when that happens, sometimes you get outside the box. And, you know, the book that we just wrote, Dichotomy of Leadership, is about balance. It's about balance. And you can't be extreme as a leader. You really can't.
Okay, so the board of Tesla brings you in. They say, Jocko, help us out here. We are kind of afraid to stand up to him. He's a genius. We know that. Right? Cult of personality.
Yep.
What do you say to the board?
I'd say to the board, hey, let's get some. I don't want to say reins, because you don't want to rein in his creative part.
That's part of why the company's successful. He's done what many people have thought was impossible.
But at the same time, some of that stuff, it's too much. And so we got to rein in some of the stuff that's too much, get him focused, bring him inside the box a little bit so that the company starts being a little bit more squared away.
John, are you buying Tesla?
Well, you know I did last night. I did it on the dip. I was telling Jocko.
I don't know if you did or you said you were going to. I wasn't sure, because there's a difference between I'm thinking about it and I did it.
True. I eat my own cooking. So if I'm telling somebody else they should be buying it, I'm buying it.
What are you buying?
I just bought the stock. There's nothing else.
Not the calls. You're buying the equity.
There's nothing in the after hours trading except stock.
So you're not scared off by this?
No. I was telling Jocko again, when we were looking at the charts, we were seeing that it has hit 261 roughly, Brian, like 3 times. And 250 is a pretty hard floor, to use a military term. It's a pretty hard floor, hard deck, maybe you guys would say. It has bounced at that level several times. And so when they couldn't sell it through that level, I decided I'll take a shot. It's $12 higher right now, and we'll see if it holds or if it keeps going.
The one reason I wanted you guys to come in, by the way, and John, thank you for coming in early, which is that I would never compare combat to buying stocks, right? I mean, combat, your life is at risk. It's much more serious. You're protecting the country. But there are leadership lessons you can get from that as far as how it pertains to our audience and trading. When do you know, for example, when to walk away?
Well, that's what the new book is about. That's
the reason I asked the question. It's funny how that works.
Setting me up nicely. So the dichotomy of leadership, right? Do you have to take risk as a leader? Absolutely. But what happens when you take too much risk as a leader? You've gone too far, and now you can put the mission at risk.
Is it ego?
Oh, ego can absolutely drive you. You know, we could probably never get John, right, to get rid of Tesla right now, because he's going, nope, it's going to go up. That's the floor. That's the floor. You know, that could be his ego being in place. So what he needs to do is be detached and look at it from a distance and say, okay, wait a second. Is this the reality of what's happening, or is this just my ego that's keeping me there?
Well, the one thing we love about John is, John, you and your brother both, you got no problem saying, you know what, I was wrong, I sold it, I cut my losses.
Right.
Sometimes sometimes it's okay to lose money.
Right.
Because it's better than losing more money.
Exactly. And that's
some stocks don't go back up.
Right. I mean, there's a host of them. Unfortunately, Lehman Brothers and things like that just disappear, Jocko. But the discipline that you preach and that you live is something I think that a lot of traders that's why they love your podcasts. That's why they love books like The Dichotomy of Leadership, because they need that discipline. Yeah. I need to be able to cut my losses. When you're in the field and you're leading a platoon, how do you guys cut your losses? I mean, because you can't just leave anybody. That's one of the SEALs' mottos, right?
Yeah, and another SEAL motto is never quit, right? And I have to explain all the time that never quit doesn't mean I'm going to stick with this original plan that I had until we either succeed or everyone dies. Right? That's not a smart move.
No, right.
At a certain point, you say, you know what? This plan that I had obviously wasn't a good one. It's not working. I'm going to retreat. Yeah, I know that sounds like, oh, it's Navy SEAL. We're never going to retreat. No, I'm actually going to retreat, and I'm going to come back, attack again, and worry about the long-term win instead of the short-term gratification.
What's the long-term planning strategy then? I mean, because trading and investing is kind of like that. It's not just like, oh, I got an idea, I'm going to buy it now. I mean, I guess that's day trading. But for long-term strategic leadership thinking, we got a lot of CEOs that watch this show. How do you help them cut through the crap, put their ego aside and think long term for the benefit of everybody, not just their own well-being.
Yeah, and one of the biggest things we teach all the time is that you do have to be able to detach. You have to be able to step back and not get caught up in the chaos of that firefight that's right in front of you, not get caught up in your own emotions and your own ego. You've got to be able to detach, step back.
But that's the question. How do you do that?
Well, I mean, sometimes when I'm teaching a young SEAL to do this, I literally tell them, hey, don't look down your weapon right now. I want you to put your weapon at high port, point it at the sky, and step back and literally turn your head and look around to see what's going on. You have to physically detach.
Yeah.
So if you're in a meeting, if you're at a desk, if you're on the floor, sometimes you know what you got to do is just, hey, I'm going to step back, I'm going to get away from my desk, I'm going to look at this thing from a more strategic perspective.